Hello, this is Vlogy number 3, and last time I did a vlog I actually said that I may do one in a few weeks but may never do one again, and it's been a lot more than a few weeks, but I am doing one now. The reason why it's taken me so long, even though I have been meaning to do one for a while, is it's because it involves talking about something that's deeply hurtful and deeply personal. And on one hand, it's part of healing to be able to talk about things, to talk about stuff that has hurt you and things that have destroyed you mentally and emotionally. On the other hand, every time something like that comes up, and if you want to address something like that, it's hurtful in itself. It brings up all the feelings, all the emotions that you have been through. And long story short, a few years ago, I met a woman and we started dating, essentially became partners, and I was absolutely in love. I was in love in the way that I don't think I have ever experienced before or since. And you know, it's like having a person in your life that you feel like you would just be ready to do anything for. Felt like she was more important in my life than anything else, you know, work or hobbies or projects or anything else. Like, she was absolutely number one, like in my mind, as they say, ride or die. But there were some things that have been happening over a few months that made me, I guess, you know, I have certain, I guess you can call them spider senses. Maybe it's because of my acting background or whatever. When people act strangely, I pick up on a few things. And I have asked her, you know, has there been something going on? Have you been, hooking up with anyone else? Anything like that? And, you know, she basically several times looked me in the eye and said, no, nothing happened. And then one time, she was out of the house. I was using the laptop that we both shared, so I had access to it and everything else. And I realized that her social media was open, and I was like, I'm better just better check it. And I actually felt awful even having that thought, because I was like, well, you have this wonderful woman that you love, you know, why would you think that she's lying to you? Why would you think that she's doing something behind your back? There must be something, you know, wrong with me if I'm thinking that, if I'm feeling that, if I want to check up on her. But then I went, well, maybe I should just do it, and if I'm an asshole, then I'm the asshole. And, you know, just put it out of your mind, get clarity, and never have to worry about it again. Long story short, it was a lot worse than I even expected. I found these chats with this absolutely disgusting guy, and, you know, she was sending him, you know, titty shots, and he was sending her dick pics, and it just, honestly, it made me want to vomit. You know, I basically realized that the entire time we were together at that point, she was lying to me because she was doing something behind my back. I tried to read through all of this stuff, but I actually couldn't. I physically couldn't, because I was literally starting to retch, and it just didn't make sense to me, because it's like I was seeing this, but then my mind just didn't want to believe what I was seeing, like how disgusting it all was. And you know, to realize that the person that I was, you know, wanting, needing, loving more than anyone else would do something like that. And essentially I realized that it wasn't just pictures, that she was, you know, sleeping around on me, essentially. And so the mind just went into like, no, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. You know, I was looking at this and, you know, this must be a mistake. You know, even though I was seeing something, like, I guess to sort of preserve myself, my mind went into You know, it's wrong. It's a mistake. There must be something. There must be a mistake. And I got out of the house. And I was just like, I just wish these messages never existed, and you know, hope that computer would never exist or anything else. But of course, the messages did exist, and the computer did exist. Eventually, and like I said, she was out at that stage, but she came back, and I came back, and I confronted her, and with our conversation, I tried to remain very calm, and with retrospect, this is probably, as soon as that happened, I should have just left her and cut any contact. But again, you know, it's having something in your life that you think is, you know, so pure and wonderful, and again, like, it wasn't even so much her making excuses for her shitty behavior, it was me. I kind of came up with solutions for her, like as to well, it's probably the other guy's fault. And look, the other guy was, by the sounds of things, an absolute prick. He had his own girlfriend. Obviously she didn't know about what was going on. At the same time as he was cheating on his girlfriend, he was posting stuff on his social media to say, you know, that how much he like loves and protects his girlfriend, and if anyone would ever touch her, he would, you know, punch on with them, and you know, all that sort of stuff. So you know, so if his girlfriend cheats on him with someone else, then he would take on that person at the same time he was, you know, cheating. And sounds like that was probably not the only time. So look, an absolute asshole of a guy, absolute, you know, piece of shit. So it was easy for me to hate him, but that, of course, in no shape or form excused my girlfriend's actions. And you know, I essentially have forgiven her because, you know, I just made it seem like it was everything was, you know, that other guy's fault. And you know, it's hard when, you know, you want to see, like, if I see something, if I see someone that I love, if I see someone that I'm you know, not worshipping, but almost holding on a pedestal, you know, and to accept that this person is a liar, that this person is, you know, fucking around on me, betraying me, and then also hurting someone. You know, there was obviously a person on the other side. There was that girl on the other side, who I don't know, but from what I saw, seemed like she was a, you know, beautiful girl with a good job and everything else. So just essentially to hurt someone who you don't even know, and to hurt someone that loves you like myself, my mind just could put two and two together. Like, how can a person that I love and how I, you know, someone that I respect would be involved in something like that? So, you know, I instantly jumped into this sort of on my mind instantly jumped in this sort of a self-protection mechanism of, well, you know, she was manipulated, etc. You know, which she might have been, but again, even that doesn't excuse it. And, you know, long story short, she said, you know, this would never happen again, and she deleted all the messages, and that was a big thing for me to kind of, to just get it out of the existence. But of course it doesn't actually get it out of existence, because A, those messages happened, and B, you know, I have seen them already. It's imprinted in my brain, those dick pics, etc. And look, the next few months were just absolutely awful. It was, even though I was trying to, you know, forgive her and coming up with all these, you know, explanations for her, it was just basically living in the darkness the entire time. It was just, you know, waking up every morning, you know, wishing wishing really bad things on that other person, and at the same time still being with the girlfriend that I loved, and essentially spending all our time together and everything else. And you can't really sort of truly heal when the person that hurt you is right there, unfortunately. And then the worst part of it all is that she hasn't really learned from it. So sometimes they say once a cheater, always a cheater, but I didn't want to believe that, but I think it can be true. And so she has lied to me since, and been on Tinder, and did other disgusting things, and hooked up with people, and patched some random drunk guy here or whatever, and then tried to cover it up and stuff like that. So eventually I had to just cut it off, and I figured out that no matter how much I try to forgive her, or try to make her a better person, or try to express how much I love her and how much her actions hurt me, that she will never actually change. And so at first we stopped dating. It was a very on and off sort of a thing. We stopped dating, and then after a long time I actually stopped. So even we stopped dating, we still kept in touch, messaging, etc. But after a long time I even cut that off. And the interesting thing was that once I did that, her response was like, "Oh, that makes me so sad that you don't want to talk to me, and you don't want to message me, etc." And that was really interesting. That was really surprising, in a sense of that the sad part was not the fact that I stopped messaging. The sad part was all the awful, disgusting things, the Tinder, the multiple guys that she was hooking up with, and I could probably go into all the nasty details, but I won't, because it's, like I said, it's actually still hurtful for me, and I don't want to don't necessarily want to talk about all of it. But that was the sad thing. The sad thing was that the person that I was in love with so much and was ready to do anything for, that she wasn't willing to do something that's probably pretty basic. It's probably something that in any intimate relationship you would want the other person to be honest with you, that you'd want them to not sleep around. That's such a basic level in between two people that are in love, that if you can't do that, then what else can you do? Then what kind of a weak person can't jump into okay, even if I have some sort of a basic want or something, there is something that's big in my life. There is a person that full-heartedly loves me. And look, I understand that there are situations, there aren't. Some people have been in a in a marriage where they've fallen out of love, or they've met someone else, and someone else is handsome prince that sweeps them off their feet. All sorts of things happen, I understand. In this case, this was a new relationship, essentially, in which she lied to me the entire time in one way or the other. And and for what? This guy whose pictures that I saw was like this feral dude with a beer gut and a weird, disgusting looking penis that is unfortunately still imprinted in my brain. In comparison to the truly beautiful life we could have had together, why would you degrade yourself? Why would you bring yourself down to hooking up with something like I wouldn't even call it someone like that. It's something like that. This feral chunk of shit. Why would you do that to yourself? And then essentially, in one way or the other, do more or less the same thing, seek out some drunk guys at the pub, or ferals from Tinder, etc. And the other thing that has happened though is that it made me feel like there was something wrong with me. So if a woman that I love, if a woman that I'm head over heels over, so to speak, is wanting to go and hook up with these feral, disgusting guys and lie to me, then what does it make me? Am I on the same level as them? Am I worse than them? What does it make me? Am I disgusting like her? Am I disgusting like those ferals that she hooks up with? And look, I'll be honest with you, it got to a point where I felt so worthless. I was just wanting a truck to run over me. Like, I actually woke up every morning with just thinking, like, what can I do? I can't do anything. I can't change her. I can't change what happened. All these memories are in my brain, and what do I do next? Like, I can't have this happening to me all the time. Like, I just wanted to get in my car and just the truck to run over the car, just for it all to be done and for it all to be over. But actually, funnily enough, or sadly enough, or whatever, I did happen to get into a car accident with a truck, but I obviously didn't get killed because I'm still here. I don't talk to that woman anymore. I don't send her messages. I'm not in touch with her. But it's something that affects me on a daily basis. It has affected my, personal relationships, etc. I went through a phase where all I was doing is just trying to seek out, these, women to hook up with. It's in, going on a date with one woman and then ended up with another woman in the evening and stuff like that. And I'm not, look, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this to brag, like, what kind of stud I am, that I've, picked up all these women. No, it's not about that. It's also not me saying, how awful of a person I am, that I was, that I was being so promiscuous, etc. And it's the fact that when stuff like that happens to you, it's a moral injury. It stuffs up your moral compass. You don't know what's right or wrong anymore. So what I thought was right, which was to have, this woman that I thought was wonderful and beautiful and that I really wanted in all ways, in a sexual way, in a romantic way, in a intellectual way. I enjoyed our conversations. I enjoyed, our life together. I enjoyed our sex. I enjoyed our intimacy, like all of it. I was loving all of it. And instead, it was traded off from this, wonderful life to these worthless, pieces of shit. And to have that happen, it really mucked up my entire moral compass, and it also gave me this massive anxiety. And so oftentimes these women that I was getting with, they weren't because I was even really attracted to them. It was more like to deal with anxiety, like I must not be as unwanted and as disgusting if all these women want me. I might be able to sleep tonight if I hook up with someone, instead of rolling around in bed the entire time and just have my heart pounding inside my chest and going, I can't sleep, I can't do this anymore. I'm slowly healing. I'm slowly recovering from it all. I've been I've been very functional. Like, this is not a situation where I've been like laying around in bed and you know, doing nothing. I've been working hard, working a lot, and I've been exercising a lot, and you know, I have a very active life. But not a day goes by that at least once I don't get kind of a, you know, a reminder or a trigger of something that's happened, and you know, this like this pain that I've endured, you know, this future that we were building, that we were creating together, and that we were talking, and the plans that we were making that will now never happen, that got traded for nothing, that just got destroyed for absolutely nothing. The beautiful life that we could have had, that I'll never now have. When I talk about this with my friends, especially females, and I have a lot of women who are my friends, and they say like, "Oh, that's so fascinating." Like, you know, we have experienced you know, cheating, but it's usually men that do that sort of stuff. It's very unusual to hear a woman who is, you know, not just a cheater but a serial cheater. And I guess if you're watching this and you have been impacted by it, know that it doesn't just happen to women. You know, it's not just men that cheat. Unfortunately, there are women that cheat too. And you know, there are piece of shit men, just like the guy that I've described to you before, that are cheating on their, you know, beautiful, intelligent partners for no reason. And there are also very disturbed, very mature women that are, you know, hurting people without necessarily even thinking about what they're doing, without thinking about the consequences of the lasting impact of all, you know, their selfish behavior or their stupid behavior can do. You know, I'm sure that when she was doing whatever she was doing, she probably didn't even consider that years down the track, years down the track, I would still be in pain, that I would be still feeling this way because of the bullshit that she put me through. So if you have experienced it, if you have experienced something like that, or you're living with it, know that you're not alone. It's not you that's at fault. It's not your fault that someone cheated on you. It's their fault. You are not to blame. You are not wrong, you're not disgusting, you are not unwanted. You're probably a loving person, you're probably very honest and faithful. And if someone, be it a man or a woman, if they go and do like that, then that's on them. Then they should be ashamed of what they have done, and they should be working the rest of their lives to redeem what they have done. But if they're not willing to do that, if they're not willing to redeem themselves, my advice to you is cut and run. Don't stick at it. Don't try to work it out or make it better. You can't help people that don't want to be helped. You can't change a person for the better if they're content with being an asshole. If they want to be a shitty man or a shitty woman, then there's absolutely nothing you can do to change them. Yes, people can change, but they need to want to change. If they want to change for you, if they want to be the best they can be, which is, I guess, ultimately what the perfect relationship is all about. It's when two people are not just loving each other, but when they're growing together and making sure that they become the best two people that, you know, can be together, and individually they help each other grow and grow up. And you know, you can't be a child in a relationship. You can't be, you know, a 30-something-year-old woman who is acting like a teenager or a preteen. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work for for the other person, but also ultimately doesn't work for you, because if you're a child inside a grown-up's body, that's gonna end badly for you in the end anyway. So here is the end of my spill. It's a lot longer than what I expected it to be, but at the same time it probably doesn't even cover 1% of how I felt, of what I've been through. Maybe I'll talk about it some more through these vlogs. I also have some writing ideas that I'm working on that are probably better format for this, but I just wanted to share my story with you guys. And if you want to talk about what I've been through, if you want to share your experiences, then by all means reach out. First vlogs that I've done, they've certainly had a lot of feedback from a lot of people who privately messaged me and shared their stories, and started a lot of interesting conversations. So if this starts that as well, that'd be great. Hoping to hear from you. Share your stories. Let me know what you thought of my story, if it affected you, if it impacted you, if there's anything. I'm not looking for suggestions or whatever, but just overall, like, if it's something that touched you, then that's great to know. I hope if there is any good that would come out of this awful story, is that hopefully it it leaves people to think about what has been done to them, what happens to other people, and and if you are one of the people that are cheating, that are lying, that are dishonest, if you're a woman that has a beautiful partner, and you are getting on Tinder or sending someone boob shots, or if you're a dude with wonderful, intelligent, beautiful girlfriend, and you are out there trying to hook up with someone else, take a good hard look at yourself, piece of shit. Fuck you. Alright, see you later, guys.